When is the last time you've had like a true, like almost near panic attack or like existential sort of one of those? We've talked about this before, like just personally, even off the pod. Those moments where you go, oh, I feel really scared and lonely and unsure, and just like I'm having that existential dread that feels like it's real strong and it almost hits you like a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
Where, the example I've used is I remember I had one good day, totally sober, had been sober for a while, just watching a show I was excited for with my significant other, arm over on the couch, and it just, whoop, something slipped in, like a fucking cracked window, and the breeze slipped in, and then it was just like, I was almost starting to tremble. I was just like...
Was the feeling first or the thoughts first?
It was a thought. I almost felt simultaneous,
probably,
or instantaneous of both. Like, there was real physical things. There was a gut drop. And there was also this, it wasn't even my heart beating faster, but it was just like this gut, like hollowness, and then this sense of like being, it's so strange. It's not so much being scared, but just feeling distant in a way that is so alien and uncomfortable to you, where you're just like, in a way where the insignificance of life in this scary way, and you just become too aware of self. Not just self-talk where you're fighting with yourself or the ego, but you become aware of all this stuff about life that is so, like, maybe not even scary, but sometimes disappointing or sometimes discouraging, and it like starts to steal all like any joy or anything you had, because you're like, it's all super pointless, or you don't understand, and none of this matters in a bad way. Like, nothing matters, dude. Everything. The way I can imagine it is, I talked to someone about it before, and this was like this is frightening to think of, but a guy had one where he's just like, dude, my kids don't matter. And he said for a moment he didn't feel the normal love he had for him. He was just like, none of this matters. Like, just that scary, everything in your life is whatever. Not in like a cool, put the sunglasses on, nihilistic way, like, dude, it's fucking nothing, I'm gonna be an alcoholic and cool or whatever. But no, in a way that you're just like, I can't care about anything because none of it matters. What am I going to do? That.
No, 100%. I've had that feeling throughout my life.
Yep.
I think less so as I age and I practice radical acceptance and I face death over and over and over again. And even stuff like OCD is a manifestation of this dread and despair that can sometimes overtake me in this hyper-obsessive need to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm eating the right foods and I'm getting the right exercise so that I can live longer, because underneath all of that is a fear of death. I've had existential attacks about death, but also about like climate change several years back, where it was like an obsessive-compulsive fixation on a devastating apocalyptic future for my kids that climate change is going to create, and like this idea that there's nowhere to escape, that Earth itself is the prison, and then that my kids are going to live in like this hellish future, which may or may not be true, but I'm just like, it got me. But a big thing, and this goes back to our earlier theme, and I've had this many times. Remember when I lived with Donnie on 96 and L Street in those apartment buildings?
Yeah.
I would have, oh my God, torture. To live with that man.
That's an existential crisis.
I brought a girl home once, and he had this BB gun that he would torture me with. And he fucking pulled it out, and I was with the fucking girl, and he had me cowered in the corner of the kitchen, shooting. She's just standing next to him, shooting me with the fucking gun, laughing. I'm like, dude, I want to look cool in front of this girl. Please stop.
Donnie, not friend of the pod.
No. It's just a freak. The things that his girl must go through. Sometimes we hang out and she'll tell me some of the things he puts her through. I can't imagine.
He did the same thing to me. I was on a date for the first time. We were at Zarinsky Park, and I think you were a part of this too. You egged him on, and he just fucking started going, rawr, and stomping his foot like a dinosaur, and then kicking me like raptor claw toe or something. And I'm just like, the girl wasn't even like mad, or she was like, what is happening? And I was like, these are your friends? I was like, no, yes.
He's unbearable.
Dude.
He's unbearable.
Yeah.
What was the thing he used to do? He did to me and Levi, where he would he would spend the night at your house or something, and then you would take him home. You pull up in his driveway, he refused to get out.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
An hour. He just refused to get out. Like, Donnie, I have to go. I have to do this other fucking thing. I have other things today. just refuse. He would torture you. He'd be like, "What the fuck do I do?"
He's strong, and by the way,
and he's super physically strong, so he can't
dense
do
as a black hole himself.
Yeah,
He's trying to get the black hole out of your Corolla.
Yeah, he's very physically immovable.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna beat his ass.
Which, by the way, he knows that.
Yeah, he weaponizes that.
Yes.
You're not going to grab him and move him, and so like he would just torture you. And he got joy out of it. He's a psychopath.
I was about to say, he's my favorite sociopath.
Dude, he has some weird... to get into his mind...
Oh, there we go.
His motivations, his childhood trauma.
Dude,
unthinkable, dude.
My trauma from it. Fuck him.
What were we talking about?
So the existential dread...
Oh yeah. Okay, this is Donnie. Yeah, I live with Donnie. But I just remember like when we lived together, he also was weird that he has these really nice things.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And
he dragon.
He has dragon statues. Speaking of dragons.
Yeah.
And he had this like really nice TV, and I was like broke and had like the old box TV in the next room, but he had this nice shit. And he would go to work, but he wouldn't want you to be in his room when he was gone.
Right.
But I wanted to enjoy his PS3 and his fucking flat screen TV that he had.
Or his faucet.
Or anything. So I would sneak into his room and like I'd eat his chips and stuff, and I'd like watch his TV and play his game. And then I try to put it as a dangerous game. Try to put everything back when I left. Anyways, I remember one time watching a space documentary, right? And like just like the Jupiter and shit like that, the images. And then,
Jupiter's
and
in
then
space.
the existential dread came.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes I still get a hint of that. So this love and interest I have in cosmology is like it's a double-edged a little bit. There is like fascination, like I can't look away. I am drawn into learning about these things, but at the same time there's always a subtle undercurrent, not of like an existential dread that overtakes you, but just a subtle undercurrent there. Sometimes it becomes a little bit more acute, sometimes it fades into the background a little bit more, and it's always intertwined with the fascination. But yeah, when you think about these things, the time scales, the spatial scales, and the relative insignificance that your 80 to 100 years on this earth means to anything, and everybody you love, right?
And that's the other thing too.
There is that thing, but I think that's always been the push and pull. Because anyways, in Donnie's room, I remember one time specifically watching it, I had to turn it off, and I could not watch space stuff for like a year.
Really?
That I would actively avoid, and I was interested in it beforehand. Like I would watch these documentaries, so sometimes they would come up, and I would have to turn the TV off or turn the channel, like go to a baseball game, something more grounded, because even just a visual image, a CGI image of like, zooming out from Jupiter or something would completely disorient me and bring up that anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I know what spurns them on. That was going to be my follow-up question, was like if you've had them recently or the last one, what you think, at least what you think. Sometimes I don't know, but those mini ones, the microdoses of like the existential crises, whatever. I know it's when in the like I mentioned this a lot, and because I think it's also kind of fascinating, is that I'm in this alumni program from a recovery place in Omaha where they get a lot of people. So there's always people joining new, and we do all these events. Like we have one tomorrow, and it's all these people, and it's weird. People go in and out. They join it and then they relapse. Like I've always just weirdly been tethered to it because I've always been scared to cut that tether. So if I do that, then things have already gotten bad when I relapse, but things will get worse. So I've even showed up when I'm super struggling, admit it, and everything like that. But you have cycles of people, and some people their lives are fine and they kind of grow out, or they just get a new job or something where you'll see them once every 3 months at these. They have 2 meetings now. But anyways. It's the nature of the beast. What happens a lot is a lot of these people that you see or that other people got really close to, the way you get hyper close and bond with people in treatment, they die. I've known about 8 people in this. By the way, it's been more than that. But I've known 8 people in about a 3-year span that I was close with somewhat or a lot. My roommate we both got there together for 30 days, he died. And you could think, oh, that makes sense. There's existential dread about death and about something that a person that had a life similar to yours, they died. But the thing that just really gets to me is there's sadness, there's emotion for the people I was closer to, but the people I wasn't even close with, and sometimes it was almost worse because there would be the funeral, and a lot of these people, in this alumni program would go to the funeral and what have you. It would basically, you'd have one meeting about it, but what would kick in is that we'd have maybe 3 weeks later a meeting, and it's just like that person's forgotten. And they're obviously, if you look into their lives, look into their parents or their siblings or their significant other or their children, whoever they left behind, that's obviously not the case. But that idea of it just like poof, going away. This person almost feels like they're just plucked out of existence. Like literally, as grotesque as it sounds, it's just like a person you unfriended, and you don't see their stuff anymore. And that's how easy it is for life just to go away. And I do this really morbid thing. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's not totally morbid, but I'll go to their pages and just see what people have posted. And this scariest thing is that it goes away even after years. Remember our good friend? I don't know.
Let me say his first name.
Dan.
Yeah.
I've done that too, and it's just like as loved as he was.
Yeah.
People just have their own lives, and you just go away.
Absolutely. AJ.
And he had a friend too that like he started this kind of nonprofit thing. I don't know if you saw it, so that helps a little bit. But it's the same thing, just people are like, "Oh, I'll never forget you," and you do.
So many times, you and me and Dan and AJ hung out. The first time I drank alcohol, I think I was 15 at AJ's house. And just have all those memories, and then years and years without seeing him, but you kind of see him on Instagram and stuff. He's still living his life as a normal dude, and then just like gone. And there's a news story like he died in a motorcycle accident.
Just insane, right?
Like,
but
what?
But the thing that scares me is not just or the thing that brings on the existential crisis. Really, is not really just that. It's when I forget about them, and I'm like, that person was so important in my life, and I don't mean forget about them. Like obviously, I don't think about them every day. No one does that really. I think with any person, like every single day, all your life. But maybe your children while you're raising them or whatever. But
only person you think about every day is yourself.
hell yeah, numero uno right here, killing it on a sinking ship.
It's really true though.
Yeah. So yeah, but that idea that I like forgot that AG was dead. I just because you were talking about they kind of go off and they do their own thing, and I think about like there was really no difference between when he was alive and when he wasn't. Like this could almost be as crazy as it sounds. This could be a ruse. They just posted something on Facebook.
Because it feels so surreal.
I'm not in his life.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't know. Like one crazy thing that happened.
And switch it around. Dan and AJ lived, and me and you were the ones that died.
Oh yeah,
and like life just.
Oh, you just get into that, and it's just like, but that's the thing that spurs it on for me is that idea that you just that sort of God. It's not just because it's tragic, but it's because it's just life. People just move on. People forget, and that's there may be a few that still mourn, but everybody else and people that were intensely close with these people, like obviously just acquaintances, that's whatever, but people that are intensely close is not just that they move on; it's how quickly it happens, and it's
and also it has to
exactly
because what's the alternative? That you just stop living, that you just sit in the couch and just think about that. I mean, of course, life has to move on.
I know, but
I totally agree with you. It's disorienting. It's surreal.
Right, because it feels like I think about that even with, past relationships I had, like two ones that lasted like a long time were very intense, and it's just like the good thing is, you got over them. I wish them the best. I honestly do. I'm glad I could say that. But it's just weird. Like I'll have Facebook memories and time hop is always such a trip for me. I'm just like, well, I think about that, and it's just like, remember that person that this was going to be the rest of your life, and not only are you just like, oh, good, whatever they're doing now. Not only are you like that, but that happened like 2 years later. Like it's just like the meaning you have to people too. Like sometimes I think about that. I think that's what can also trigger it. It's just like the meaning you think you have to people. Because I always say you are not as important as you think you are, and that could be freeing. But there's part of the ego, yes. But I think even on a deeper level, you're just like, I really don't. I mean stuff to people, but absolutely. Not as much as I want to. But that's the way life is. You can't mean that much to people.
It's also why people strive to be successful or create or stand out in the world, because there's this deep subconscious impulse to be known and seen and validated and recognized. And the more people that know and see and validate and recognize you, there's some background sense that means you're going to have a legacy that can last longer, right? Like these are death projects. Like so much of what we do is subconsciously driven by that. Any need to stand out in a field, any need to succeed or to be seen, to perform, to be known, is ultimately, like this deep existential need to be seen, and the background implication is that you're less likely to be forgotten, that people do see and care and know about you.
But here's the interesting thing, because what you just described could totally go back to that question about getting swept up and stuff for my like ego about wanting, I want to be the one performing, or at least I want to be the one doing the thing. You know what's so funny though? So you think, oh, that hits me to a T, right? However, I truly am one. It's been for a long time. I guess you could say all my life. I've never really given a shit about legacy. Like times I've been in treatment, there's been like you write your own obituary or stuff like that. It's like, how do you want to be remembered? I was like, look, I want to live my life. I want to love people and be a member of society and be helpful and stuff. But I don't give a shit. Like I'll be dead. Like I think it's one of those things where I don't know what the afterlife is, but it's not going to be the way that you imagine it, where you're conscious of your past life and you look back at your life and like, who's at my funeral or anything.
Yeah.
I sincerely don't give a shit about that, more so than like way more than the average person, which is funny. So I don't care about living on that way. It's not even about that. I don't know.
I also kind of agree with you. Like I don't care about living on in some way, being recognized or anything, but I do care about doing something meaningful with my life and trying to, it sounds cliche, but really like, doing whatever you can to like leave the world in a slightly better position. Like I do feel a responsibility, like an existential responsibility to try and do something positive with my life that in some way, shape, or form helps others as much as possible. Like that's, when I'm gone, I'll be forgotten. Like think of even the most famous fucking, like John Quincy Adams or whatever, George Washington.
Who?
Jesus Christ.
Who? Exactly.
Jesus Christ, I always think, is the most famous person, And most people don't think about him at all. And the ones that do, the Christians,
are going to heaven.
And they have this distorted vision of him anyway. They don't even know who he was as a man. Jesus to them now is just an abstract idea, completely separated from who he was as a material being.
Absolutely.
So even the most famous people, they don't even have the legacy that you think they have.
No.
Yeah.
No. I've never coveted that. Like
Yeah.
I've never just been like, man, people, and I want people to go back like 10 years and go to my grave and put down flowers. I'm like, I don't even want people to like. You talking about moving on? Like, I would want the same thing, but it is what that says about the meaning of life when I'm in it.
Yeah.
And
that's what matters.
Yeah, and you think that would actually instill more importance of this and give me a good like little jive of just like, yeah, dude, you don't care about what happens when you're dead, so it all matters now, right? But it clashes with this thing of just like, it's fucking meaningless though. Yeah. And sometimes I think to myself, it's funny, this is like the negative drill structure and like narrator in my head that goes like, dude, you're just fucking thinking too much. And you're just privileged that you can think about this, and you just need to be busy and fucking doing stuff, and you won't be thinking about life and all this stupid shit. You think this is like, what? Some like heroic burden to think about stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the existential crisis. Like, Mom, what'd you do today? Well, I listen, honey, sweetie, I thought a lot. Like, who gives a fuck? Go to Habitat for Humanity and build houses for people. Don't fucking sit around and just bum yourself out by fucking thinking.
That is true.
Like
there's deep wisdom to that.
Right. And that's the problem with my narrator, is that he's right sometimes.
Yeah.
But there are levels, like I said, when it just comes on, it doesn't matter what the fuck I'm doing. It is there. But yeah, there is always this weird balance of just like, it's a genuine thing I deal with, and I think I should not pay homage to, or I should like acknowledge and treat as, yeah, this is the thing, feel it, everything else like that. There's that, which I think is healthy, but there's also like, quit thinking. Fucking go for a walk. You can't right now, or just, I don't know, fucking start writing. Create something, do something, help someone else, or fucking eat a bowl of cereal.
100%.
You're just thinking.
100%. That really is wise. And yeah, I think like to wrap this part of the conversation up is people listening that do feel those feelings, don't run from them, right? Like that's a big thing on Shoeless is like, don't run from uncomfortable feelings. And like, if I've gotten better at dealing with those lightning bolts of existential dread, it is through my ability to not be terrified by them and try to squirm and run away from them, but to, in so much as I can, accept that they're here and become curious about them. That deflates so many negative, scary emotions if you just shift from trying to escape towards being curious. That shift alone can do so much. But the other thing I wanted to say is, insofar as we are the universe, the subjective side of the cosmos, that we are the universe come to know itself in a way that animals also can't do, just like animals can't do cosmology and philosophy, they can't be aware of their own death.
Mm-hmm.
And so a truly mature subjectivity of the cosmos has to face its own end over and over and over and over and over again consciously as intelligent life. Every human being that has died is another drip in the consciousness of the universe coming to grips with its own death in some way. Like, you can't be in the cosmos as an intelligent, self-reflective creature. You can't be the universe understanding itself without confronting death. And so the universe confronts its own finitude in the sense of things come and go through human consciousness that is self-aware of its own mortality and has to live there its entire life as an intelligent creature in the cosmos, aware that it is going to die. And that is like an evolutionary step of the subjectivity of the cosmos itself. The cosmos, through us, becomes conscious of its own, demise.
But it doesn't do it at once, in
Right.
this way, and it doesn't really.
But it does it in every way. Every
Right.
way a conscious, intelligent creature could die in the universe, or has died in the universe, is the subjectivity of the cosmos experiencing in that way, experiencing it in that way, experiencing it in that way.
Speaking of like the existential and even maybe not the cosmic stuff, but just in a sense, do you ever think sometimes though, all this stuff that's going on about what our consciousness and a greater consciousness and all this stuff, what the world is like, you ever get the feeling that maybe a lot of it is just organic matter, rocks, space, and we are just these organisms that just have this thing in our head that it's almost like the way you just jingle keys in front of a baby. Like, just we have this thing just to keep us doing stuff, and it's just this mind. It's now like grown to this different thing. But in the end of the day, all this consciousness and all this stuff we feel is just like, I don't know. It's almost like the way an animal feels hunger. It gets it to do stuff.
Yeah.
That's what our mind is, and it just kind of grew into this other place. But in the end, once the light goes off, it's all back to the rocks and the matter and stuff.
That could very well be true. Even if that is the case, it is still the subjectivity of the cosmos.
Dude, and
Even if that is the case, and especially, I mean, that is likely. I mean, modern reductive materialist science has that exact conclusion. That is the predominant view in the natural sciences, that's what happens when you die, and that consciousness is basically some sense of an illusion created by all the interpenetrating streams of information that a complex mind takes in, and it generates what we feel to be consciousness, but that it's not anything special, that it does go away when you die. But still, even there, it is still objectively true that is how the cosmos comes to become aware of itself, right?
yeah, and then again, even if it's the rocks and the space, what is the? It's not just a rock thingy that created all the stuff. It's not just fire or heat. It's not just heat alone that created all this stuff, Like, to be honest, I think Cotton Eye Joe said it best when they said, "Where did you come from? Where did you go?"
Ooh, that's a beautiful line.
I've been thinking about that one for a while.
That's basically the whole conversation we had today. Where did we come from? Where do we go?
Dude, that is, yeah. Don't even listen to Cotton Eye Joe, folks. That's basically what you'll get from this.